Donald Trump's re-election campaign made a questionable decision in soliciting donations for his 2020 run. So CNN reports here for us. President Donald Trump's re-election campaign used a photo of a survivor of the Parkland, Florida shooting in an email Saturday that asked its recipients to donate money to the campaign. The email contains a photo of 17-year-old Madeline Wilford in a hospital bed surrounded by her family, Trump and the First Lady. The president visited Wilford on February 16th, 2 days after the attack at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, which left 17 dead. The nation has turned its attention to the senseless school shooting in Parkland, Florida, the email reads. Trump is taking steps toward banning gun bump stocks and strengthening background checks for gun purchasers. It says the president has made his intent very clear. Making our schools and our children safer will be our top priority.
Wow. So a couple of things about this. Number one, using a picture that you took when you were pretending to care about the victims to raise money is particularly low. So look, the politicians do photo ops, and it's generally annoying to begin with, and Republicans and Democrats do it. When you do it with victims, I find it more annoying. But on the other hand, to be fair to Trump, if he didn't go, everybody would criticize him for not going. So you go and you take a picture. I get it. I totally get it. Then for your, fundraising, your campaign. Most people don't even have a campaign. Most presidents don't even have a campaign, organization yet to begin with. He started it right after the election, and so for them to then take the picture, and then the last piece of insult to injury, in this case, quite literally, is President Trump is working hard to make sure that he protects you and is going to do some sort of gun control. Well, the bump stocks that had nothing to do with Parkland, Florida, I'm happy. And lifting the age by 2 years, I mean, these are minuscule efforts. And then to use the victims to further finance your propaganda is loathsome.
You know what? I'm going to throw a curveball at you here. I'm kind of okay with this because he bought into the logic of gun control right there. Because he's saying, oh, you're right about the picture. That's terrible taste, shouldn't have done it, shouldn't use the picture. But at least he's giving okay, well, I banned bump stocks. He's got another idea of raising the age to 21 for you to buy a gun. But I think we could say this is a little bit of a win because the arguments that they were making was under no circumstance is gun reform a good idea, ever. And then now he's like, I guess banning bump stocks is a good idea, and doing this other little bit is a good idea, and doing this other little bit is a good idea. So I think that shows that we're kind of winning.
Yeah, I mean, they are tiny wins, but I hear you, and it's a perfectly fair point. The only problem with that logic is that Trump often lies and pretends to be progressive when it comes to campaigning. Oh, I won't let them cut Medicare and Social Security and Medicaid at all.
I'm not going to outsource your jobs.
Yeah, so
of course.
I mean, the globalist, and I can't believe Goldman Sachs controls Ted Cruz.
And then he has Goldman Sachs all in his administration.
Yeah, so when it comes to campaigning and trying to raise money, he understands the country's progressive.
Yeah.
So they go with a progressive message to sucker you into giving more money, and then they tug at your heartstrings with that picture. And let's just note for the record, and I do this every once in a while, but it should be noted, if Obama had done something like that, they would have absolutely shredded him.
Oh. That's a week at least on Fox News.
Over and over, they might have done committee hearings on it.
So here's what's interesting. Trump kind of buying into the logic of gun reform there, even though we agree he's kind of lying about it. But Wayne LaPierre, the head of the NRA, not that long ago, he also had a different opinion. Let's take a look at that video.
We believe in absolutely gun-free, zero tolerance, totally safe schools. That means no guns in America's schools, period, with the rare exception of law enforcement officers or trained security personnel.
What got in the water? Something happened.
I know.
What is it? Tell me.
Because as we were talking about earlier in the show, in the old days, not in 1999, but old days, the NRA was strictly for the members. And then they started to take money from the gun manufacturers.
There you go. This was pre that, I guess.
Yes, and in 99, it's somewhere in the transition, right? It's
Right.
somewhere in the transition. They started taking money, but it hasn't been a complete wholesale takeover by the manufacturers. Now it's a total takeover of the NRA, and then the NRA helps to take over the body politic. So now Wayne LaPierre, the same Wayne LaPierre, goes out and gives a speech of almost 20 years later and says, what do you mean? The gun schools should be filled to the rim with guns. The teachers should have guns. Everybody should have guns. And the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, including a teacher. And they should all be OK corrals. Why? Because he's not representing the members anymore. The members of the NRA don't even want that. He's representing the manufacturers who mainly pay his outrageously high salary.
So they say their main argument today is more guns equals more peace. Because there are more good guys in the world than bad guys. So if you arm everybody, the good guys with the guns outnumber the bad guys with the guns. Here's the problem with that argument. If that was true, the United States would already be the most peaceful. And we're the least peaceful of the modern nations. So, but what I find fascinating is they are undercutting their entire argument right there. I mean, I know it's a video from a while ago, but I would have never guessed that that existed. So I want to also show this amazing chart. There's a real sea change happening, Cenk, because look at how many companies are cutting ties with the NRA after the Florida high school shooting. I think everybody was saying, hey, we think something's different this time around. It really looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. So the right wing has an institutional disadvantage with corporations. Now that might sound really funny because
on this issue.
Yeah, no, on a number of issues. Because we're the ones trying to get corporate money out of politics, and a lot of times they argue for corporate money in politics, almost all the time. They're at least the elected Republican officials at the national level do. And yes, those corporations want tax cuts, they want deregulation, and the Republican Party delivers that for them. But their disadvantage with corporations is that corporations need customers. So alienating their customers or killing them is not good for business. So in this case, it doesn't look good to be giving money that's being described as blood money in any way, shape, or form, whether it's in the form of these discounts, et cetera, for NRA members to the NRA. That turns off. Why? 97% of the country wants federal background checks. NRA is opposed to it. Universal background checks. 2/3 of the country wants gun control across the board. More of the customers are against the NRA than for the NRA. So those corporations think, I'm going to lose money if I'm with the NRA, so I'm going to pull out. By the way, the issue that the right wing is most at a disadvantage with, the extreme right wing, is corporations don't like racism and they don't like bigotry and they don't like homophobia because those are all customers.
Gay marriage too is one where, yeah, you do see this. Like corporations, they'll give ground on social issues because the social issues tend to not affect their bottom line that much.
It doesn't affect their taxes,
right,
et cetera. In fact, it costs them money if they alienate gay customers or black customers. This is a story I tell often. Coke, I saw an international ad that they had, and it was filled with Muslims. And I was like, whoa, because you don't see that much in America. But like 1/3 of the ad featured Muslims. And I was like, of course, there's 1.6 billion Muslims in the world and they want to sell Coke to them.
Yep.
So for the Steve Bannons of the world, that is really bad news.
Yeah, but go to raise the minimum wage and all of a sudden the fangs come out and they're like, under no circumstances are we doing that.
Yeah, and that's just across all corporations, generally speaking. Not every one of them. There are good corporations if you want to put your money in. And then we try to find them, et cetera. But overall, of course, they're for lower taxes and deregulation. But this is the one area where they wind up being against conservatives.
But do you think something will really change this time? Because it really, I mean, that didn't happen after any of the other shootings. There wasn't a run on the NRA after any of the last shootings. Now there is. It feels like we're at a tipping point. But at the same time, I think we need more of, like, there was a story from the other week, a GOP billionaire was like, that's it, I'm not donating to any more Republicans until they act on this issue. Yeah. And those GOP billionaires, they get enough from the Democrats where they're like, okay, I'll go for the Democrats anyway. But do you think it's different this time?
I do, and for whatever reason, and it might be because of how active the victims in this case are, the ones who suffered through the shooting, how relatable they are, how passionate they are. And I think that it was just one school shooting too many. And in the polling, not only has most of the country now shifted significantly towards more gun control, but the ones that rank the highest in that category are parents, because they realize, oh, it wasn't a one-off. Okay, when it was Columbine, it seemed like, wow, what a crazy thing. And then many other school shootings, and then you had Newtown, and they were like, whoa, horrified, but the elementary school kids weren't gonna come out and lead a charge. Now when
These kids are amazing.
Yeah, and now
floored.
there's been so many massacres back to back to back, Orlando and Las Vegas and Sutherland Springs, Texas, that people have forgotten about, go into a church and kill dozens of people, right? And I think it's gotten to a point where finally what we've been saying for years now has gotten through to people. Oh, it could happen anywhere. It really could happen in my neighborhood or in my kid's school. You just watched a video by the Young Turks, home of the revolution. If you'd like to get a lot more than that, get the full show by becoming a member. TYTnetwork.com/join.